Hi everyone, it's Susan here with a reading for you for this period between the eclipses. We just had the Aries solar eclipse on the new moon. We've got the full moon happening next week on the 5th of May, and that will be a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So a really important period that's happening right this very moment. And I just wanted to talk into that and bring some insight and clarity around it. So the way I'm seeing it is that this is a massive period of revelation and truth, a time when we're going to see in the public arena people being held accountable for things that they've said or done or things that they've tried to hide. So it's almost as though the veils are really being lifted in a big way. So we'll see that in the public arena. We've seen it already with a very prominent media mogul, and there'll be more and more of that happening. Personally though, and I like to do my readings more about what's going on for us, individually. So personally, it will be about revelations about who you are. And that revelation, in a way, it's about vulnerability as well. So it can happen in many ways. So, a lot of people are talking about truths coming out at this time. So truths are interesting because sometimes there are secrets that we've had. And those secrets can be to things that we're ashamed of. So things that have maybe happened in our past that we really don't want anybody to know about. But I'm also seeing it being revealed in the way of us being, I guess, more real, more authentic, and not perhaps pretending that we're always okay when we're not pretending that we don't need help when we do, not pretending that we've got all the answers when we don't. And when we move into that energy of revelation about who we really are, it brings us into a more vulnerable state, but a more real energy. And it allows a deeper connection with those people that you share your life with. So what I am seeing is it's like being in a classroom at the moment, and the energies are intense. So you're going to feel like you're on top of the world one minute, got all the answers, life's absolutely working. All that manifestation that you've been doing, it's absolutely working. And then maybe even an hour later, you're going, oh my God, nothing's working. I feel like I'm flat on the floor, and what is happening? So that's typically the energy in an eclipse. Let's say this period in between. I want to call it the in-between. So this in-between, it's like we are bridging two worlds. We're going from an old world that we've lived in into a new world that we want to move into. And that, to be honest, at this moment, our spirit and our souls are calling us to step up in a big way. And it's to step up into our light, into our truth, and into our belief that no matter all the noise that's going on in the world at the moment around wars, around health situations, around politics, all of that we can put aside and recognize that with us the change happens, because it happens on an individual basis. When I say things like that as well, I always go to times like, Nazi Germany, when things like that were going on. And it wasn't just Hitler that created that situation. It was all of the people who followed. So individually, we make change. Individually, we make choices. Now, some of those choices at the moment, you might feel like you've got no choice. You might be in a situation where you're feeling that the walls are actually closing in on you rather than expanding. Now, that's typical of this energy that we're in at the moment. But it's there to show you, in a way, the limitations that you've held to be true, because it will only come up for you if it's something that you've held inside you to be true for you. So I just really encourage you to look at what those frustrations are at the moment. If there's frustrations in relationships, then maybe you're looking at the whole energy of relationships in the wrong way. And maybe you're still seeking that happiness from outside of yourself, or thinking that somebody else in the relationship has to change in order for the relationship to be better. It's often us that will make the change, and that is, how can we be more kind? How can we be more loving? And how can we be more honest? And I think this is about honesty. And I know through the readings I've been having of late that honesty has been a huge thing, like being honest with your partner, being honest with yourself. So all those little white lies that we tell ourselves, or the way that we try and soften it for those that we live with, sometimes it's about being able to not be so direct that you're going to hurt someone, but being direct enough that they see and feel the love that you have for them when you're expressing your honest truth. And look, let's face it, you're wise. You have great insight. You've got great knowledge. You really do. And so often we kind of, we couch it, we push it down. We don't talk about it because we don't want to seem like we are trying to give the answers. Well, this isn't about giving the answers as much as about being honest with those that you love so that they can be honest with you. Now, in relationships, I'm seeing it like a coming of age. And that coming of age is, I want to give you an example of this because it's come up a few times with colleagues, with friends, but where maybe we've got people in our lives that we're trying to help or that are struggling, or maybe we're struggling. And the old paradigm would have been to, pretend, oh, everything's okay. Or not go too deeply into their situation because you don't want to overstep the mark. You want them to work it out. And whilst we do want them to work it out, and whilst we don't want others to fix us, there is this energy of complete honesty that's happening. So it's a coming of age. It might be saying, well, I'm the mother and you're the child, but I'm struggling. Or you're the child and I'm the mother, and I actually don't have all the answers. I don't. And that's frustrating for me. So in this energy of honesty, there's this vulnerability, but it's a coming of age. And it's being able to have these discussions amongst each other, and this will be in friendships as well, and maybe in businesses, where we can say, you know what, this isn't working at the moment. Maybe the business isn't working at the moment. And you say, it's not working. So it's that honesty. It's not working, but what can we do? I don't have all the answers. What do you think? What could you suggest? So it's really like an opening up period. And we're straddling these two worlds, that world where we want to hold on to our pride, where we want to be the ones that are seen to know, to being the ones that are just open to the wisdom and the guidance and the true expression of love. So I know that this time is truly transformational with massive endings, massive new beginnings coming. So as I said, I'll talk into the full moon a little bit more in the next video in a couple of days. But right now, if the walls feel like they're closing in, just take a breath and just understand what it is in you that you have to let go of. And maybe it's that perpetual feeling that you can't have what you want. And maybe you can't have what you want the way you think you should get it. So I think it's about really just throwing everything away that you've desired and really being open to being present in your energy and kind of really acknowledging all that you do have, all of the freedom that you have. Now that's the other energy that's really online at the moment in this between eclipses. When I title this video, what happens between eclipses, it's kind of like we've got this intense energy. It's like doing a crash course 101. Who are you? Crash course 101. What have you learned? Crash course in how to be happy, how to be optimistic, how to be a can-do instead of a it's never going to happen person. So that's what this period is about. And I've lost my train of thought now because I got into the energy of it. But it's that, it's like losing your train of thought, not being in the mind, being more in the body, more in the heart, more willing to feel and experience all of the ups and downs, but knowing that it is passing. So it's an intense period of time, intense transformation. Beautiful, though, when you can see and allow yourself to flow with it. So not to resist, because whatever you resist, as we know, persists. But resistance takes energy. And for many of you, you may be feeling that energy of tiredness. So if you're tired, I think at some level you're resisting what is happening. And if nothing is happening, then that's okay. It's okay. And if everything is happening, that's okay too. And to flow with it, knowing that everything is in this. It's like I'm just seeing this. Oh, okay. So you know when you go to the movie theatre, I mean actually not the movie theatre, but a theatre where there's a live play. And what I'm seeing is a scene being played out. And then I'm seeing the people behind the scenes switching the scenes. But what they're doing is it's like it's like the stage is circular. So they're moving the scene, and within seconds or a minute, the whole scene that's already set up behind the curtain is coming into view. And it's like, oh, we're in a new scene now. We've got a new story, a new chapter to tell. So that's exactly what's going on. We're in that minute of change, but it's actually 2 weeks. All right, so I'm going to just give some other insight into it using the Rasuli Wisdom Oracle, Sufi wisdom, divine guidance through the hearts of great sages. I always just love the energy of what the cards bring. And I apologize for the noise that they make because these ones are a bit thicker. They're beautiful, but that thick card that makes a noise when you shuffle. All right, so beautiful Spirit, give us some more insight, some more guidance into what this period is about. Oh, I love this. So it says life's purpose. Seek your own deeper vision into your life, into your vision for your life. So what is your vision? Do you have one? And this is an interesting time, right? Because if you do have a vision and it's not working and you're getting frustrated, then maybe you're not seeing the full picture, right? Maybe you're not seeing that there's so much other that you can bring into your world. And maybe you've been too narrow focused on what your life's vision is. One thing I will say to you is that whenever you do get into that point, or if you get to that point where you or a loved one is feeling very, no vision, no hope, creativity is always the answer. Because the minute you start doing something creative or thinking creatively, then you enter the energy of the universe, you enter connection, and you get into a space where suddenly everything feels great. Now, it's not always possible. You know, people say, well, I don't have paints, I'm not a drawer, I'm not an artist, I can't get to a pottery class. But you can create in so many ways, even online, with your photos. I often get on Canva and create things. I'm creating a workbook for my next workshop. And I found that as soon as I start doing that, it's like that excitement energy flows again. So there's lots and lots of ways you can create. You can move your furniture around in your house. You can change the way that you dress, fiddle with your hair, fiddle with your clothes, whatever it is, but make things look different. And that's the energy of creation. So beautiful card, life's purpose. That's our first card. Our second little bit of insight here is silencing the mind. Let silence guide you to your inner peace. So beautiful reminder through this eclipse season. And love that beam of light coming in to the center of the, what looks to me like looks like a sunflower really, but it's like that flower of life. So it's knowing really, isn't it, that the imagery there for me is that even when we think things are out of order, they never are. Things are always in balance. Things are always shifting and always moving to bring balance. But that light, connect in with the light of your soul. Connect in with the voice of truth. Connect in with the universe. So those of you that, meditate, if you haven't done my 21 days of meditation, so I've got 21 meditations. They're not necessarily needing to be done over 21 days, but they're 21 very unique and different meditations. They're available on the link that I'll put in the chat. But silencing the mind, so letting go of that ego mind, the monkey mind, that one that keeps going, what's going to happen? Why is it not happening? That's the energy we're in at the moment. So silence it through music, whatever ways you can find. Meditation is always a beautiful way, and body work. What else am I seeing for this period? Very interesting times, right? Because I know here in Australia we're in April, and I don't know if this thing April showers, because I grew up in the UK. So April showers, but we used to get showers, I'm sure, in April in the UK, but April in Australia, it's always raining. We have Easter, we have Anzac Day, always rains. And I've noticed lately it's been extremely windy, wet. But you know what? My friend and I were still going out for a walk and we're still doing it and saying it doesn't matter whether it's like that. So it's because that's the thing that brings the calm to the mind, or my mind. So I'd encourage you that if you're not doing something because of the weather, go out there anyway. If you're not doing something because you don't have the money and it's something that silences your mind, so maybe that's an art class, watch it on YouTube, doesn't cost anything. So it's kind of like still get involved in creativity. I remember one day I spent the whole day watching art videos and I was like, wow, I could do that, but I felt that I was in that creative energy. So what else? One other card for this time between the open mind. I don't know what it says yet, but I'm loving the imagery on it. So it says replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one. So, I love the way that the cards bring us absolute confirmation of the messages that come through. And you see, I always draw the cards randomly. So that old cycle, that's that image I had of the old scene. So we've had this scene, and even in my mind when I see it, I see this scene on the play, and it's all very kind of drab, and then when they turn it around, it's all very exotic. So I wonder what exotic new scene is coming into your life. So anyway, keeping it brief today, just a lovely time to come in and connect, and really always do appreciate those of you that have subscribed and do subscribe and share. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again shortly on the full moon video that what is it? All these eclipses get me tongue-tied. Anyway, much love. Have a great whatever it is, morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching. Take care.